Welcome to QuickBooks, Bumps, Benefits, Tips and Tricks. Today we'll be taking a look at some tricks. I go all the way back to the days of QuickBooks Desktop. I've been in accounting for over 30 years and also been using QuickBooks for over 30 years. And certain industries have different things that you really need to trick QuickBooks to getting it set up the right way to give you the most information. And today I'm taking a look at rentals. This is a sample company, Craig's Real Estate and Rentals. And what we need to do is we have to first of all be in QuickBooks Plus or Advanced. Go into our settings, Advanced, and turn on something called class tracking. And class tracking is classification. So each rental property will be a class or a classification that we can track all the income and all the expenses on each property to know if you're making money or not. I like to turn on the warn me when transactions isn't assigned a class. That way every time you put in a tenant, you don't have to have a class, and that way it's assigned to each rental property. And also the same thing with the expenses as well. And that way you can actually go through and track all your income and all your expenses for each property. This will really be a huge time saver to you, but also give you the information you need to know if you're making money on properties or not. Also like to turn on one row for each transaction. That way you have to put a class on for each income and each expense. Save it, and now we're all set. Back to our home page now. Always the best starting point whenever you're working with QuickBooks online. And I'm going to jump right into an invoice. And now you'll have a new category on the invoice. And it's called class. And this will only show up for you. It won't show up for customers that you're invoicing. In this case, tenants. But it will show up for yourself. And right now there's no classes in here, so we can add in whatever format you want to use. You can call it Rental A, 115 Main Street. I'll add a second property, Rental B, 125 Center Street. And any time that you don't have a classification, I like to put in here an extra category, just like a dump category. So if you didn't know quite where something went, you can actually put it into a rental to class or classify category, and that way you can go back later and put it where you need. And also like to have one just called company, and that's for any expense. You can't necessarily assign to one apartment. If they're large, they can get divided between each property that you have, and if they're small, the same way they can get divided out at the end of the year. And there's very few things that would go in that category, some office supplies and that type of thing, but that way you'll have it there. So each property then will have a class, and this will be really important. You set up your customers. And we have our service for rents. Be very descriptive. Usually rents are monthly, so you can call it something like monthly rent. Now we're back to our invoice. Cool Cars here will have a monthly rent, and this will be a commercial rental. $1,500 per month, and the location. And once you put this in this case we're just going to save it, not send it, but you could send it out and email it to your customers. And also another thing that's really good to do now is they have a brand new layout If we click this button here, watch what will happen. Now we actually get to see what the invoice looks like in an email view, payer view, and a PDF view. To re-add our monthly rent and put our class. And here now you see the button where it says classes are hidden, so they will only show up for the business. And once you put this in here one time, you'll remember it. We put our commercial rental back in. And now it's going to show all the income, all the expenses from rental property A, 115 Main Street. I'll save it and go back here, and we can actually see here's your invoice now. This is what the person receiving the invoice will see. Craig's Real Estate, the dollar amount, and they can make all their payment methods. And they'll have a PDF view of the invoice as well. And they can pay your bill right from here if you set up the payment methods. Again, this is a sample company. Also nice on this side of the screen, they now have the different payment methods, so you can go through your payment setup, put different payment options on or off, and so on. So really big improvements. And that'll end our QuickBooks bumps and benefits, tips and tricks for today. Thank you. If you like us, subscribe down below. Thanks.